Okay, I've been doing quite a bit more with my Google Play Radio lately since I've been back from uni. So I've been able to do more of the actual hardware and the enclosure and things like that. So I thought I'd just do an update now while I've got everything put back into the enclosure temporarily, at least before the enclosure's finished, and I've still got parts of the internal mountings and things like that to sort. But I'll just do a quick video now that I've got it just put back together, and I was just doing a bit of an electronics test because I've been told that if I update the Raspberry Pi's firmware, it fixes a bug that I was having with the with Pulse Audio, giving some pretty bad interference when GStreamer changed its playing state. I did try and work around that, but even my workaround was still pretty terrible. But yeah, I'll just show in the back a little bit. Right, so in here we've got the first thing is this board just here. Well, that board that I'm pointing at on the LCD as well, the LCD module. The little bit of strip board is basically just a breakout board that goes to two ribbon cables down to the main board. The board underneath that on the black acrylic is the front panel board that has the these buttons and these two rotary encoders on there. I haven't decided what I'm doing for the knobs on these yet. I think I'm either going to have some wooden ones to match the case, or some aluminium ones, which might look quite nice. On the side we have the amplifier modules mounted on an acrylic mounting plate, which then goes into the side of the case. The side of the case is actually quite thick. It's maybe what will it be, about 9, either 9 or 12 mil. I think it's three layers of 3mm flexible plywood, so it should be 9mm, I think. This is actually my dad that's made this case, so that's why I'm just guessing most of the stuff. But so yeah, there's an amplifier on either side there. Down here I've got the main board mounted just up here so these cables can reach, otherwise I would have mounted on the bottom, but here is just a little DC-DC converter for the Raspberry Pi. And down there we have the Raspberry Pi mounted on another acrylic mounting plate, and then that just goes onto the bottom here. It's not on there now, but I'll see if I've got it handy. There is actually a... I can't open this box with one hand. I've actually got a little acrylic panel to go in there. I decided to go for a white one, then you can see the status indicators on the Pi without having to take this off. So it's just, or open the back door. I haven't actually got the back door with me right now, but there's a door that goes in this section as well. And in here there's going to be another little board under there that I haven't made at the moment, which is going to have a I haven't calculated this, but I think it's probably going to be as either a 0.8 or 1 amp fuse, smoothing capacitor, and that's just going to plug in. It's going to take this connector here, and it's going to output power to this terminal block here, and that board will just sit under there, probably along with this DC-DC converter board as well. And then there's this board here, which is just will go in this space here, and that's just got power in and power switch. The power switch isn't actually connected right now, so yeah. And the Pi, you've just got USB. USB isn't actually used, but it's on the back anyway because it has to be, because it protrudes so much more than the Ethernet for some reason. I'm not really sure why they actually designed it like that. It just seems so illogical having the USB protruding so much more than the Ethernet. I would rather the actual PCB dimensions be bigger than have the board than have the USB header that far out. And Ethernet, of course. I suppose later on you could actually add a Wi-Fi module in. You could use a USB for a Wi-Fi module. But yeah, that's about it for the back. See the SD card down in there, you can probably get to that easy enough. Yeah, and that's about it for in there. As for the actual case, it's I did try and go with like the retro style case, sort of 1930s, 1940s maybe. Yeah. So what I'm actually planning with this, if you've seen the coffee table I made, you'll kind of recognise what I'm talking about. But I'm going to have this side, excluding the edges of this plywood, spray painted matte black. The bottom of it is just going to stay as it is. It'll have some clear acrylic lacquer on it, as will the front and the back and the edges of the front and back plywood. So, and also on the front here, it's tightened up a bit, but it's just going to have some aluminium mesh. Again, the same sort that I used on the coffee table, and the speakers are here as well. I'm still just trying to find a good way to mount the speakers. I think I've got a good idea in mind. Let's use a mounting bracket similar to that. I just want to make sure it's a good mounting bracket, because these speakers are still, even though they're small, they're relatively heavy, so of course I wouldn't want them falling on the electronics if there was a problem with the mounting bracket. You can see the front, the interface, the button and encoder panel. This is just these bolts bolt the PCB on, and then these bolts bolt the acrylic to the front plywood panel. The LCD is using you can just see that the LCD PCB overlaps the acrylic for the front panel just slightly, and you can't see it, and I doubt I can get it on camera. I'll try. You can just about see a big piece of yellow. You could have maybe just seen a piece of yellow acrylic in there, and that's basically giving an equal space on the top of that LCD. So there's about 3 mil space between the PCB and this and the front plywood. And then I've just got 4 of these. You can just about see that. I can't really point to them, but you can see them holding the LCD PCB on there. Yep, so that's how that's mounted. As for the electronics and Python scripting, nothing's really changed. It still works. Yeah, so it still goes pretty loud as it did before. I mean, these speakers I'm using, they still aren't that great, but they do the job. Overall, I'm quite happy with it. That's just my broadband actually. It's if for some reason GStreamer decides when GStreamer doesn't have enough bandwidth, it will just skip a track, so that's why that happens. I will eventually be using this in my new house at uni, so I'll have plenty of bandwidth then. So it's just that, yeah, I can, even using the Google Play web radio at home, it's horrible to use, to be fair, so I end up having to use the local music on my phone a lot. But you can see it does actually stream okay a lot of the time, but yeah, you do need quite a good broadband to be able to use something like this, as well as say have this on while you're running a PC as well. So yeah, that's about it for now. Yeah, so you can still hear. So I still have, because what I do to get around the GStreamer Pulse Audio problem, I actually turn the amplifiers off, and then what do I do? I think I turn the digital potentiometers down to 0, and then I turn the amplifiers off. And then when I press pause again to play it, it turns the amplifiers back on. It starts it playing. What the hell does it do? I can't remember. It's ages since I wrote the script for this. Well, it turns the... What does it do? Man. it turns the amplifiers on, sets the digital potentiometer to the old value, and then starts GStreamer again. I can't remember the exact order, but there's a time delay in between those as well. And that's how I managed to get it not too bad when you hear it starting again, but when you stop, you still get the big click. I mean, some of that's going to be, yeah, like you can actually hear the relay clicking, that's one of the things you can hear, but you actually still get a pop from the speakers as well. It's not as big as it was when I didn't have this and I was just relying on GStreamer to pause it and leaving the amplifiers powered, but I suppose as well you could also say it's a power saving feature. So if you pause this and go and answer the door, maybe, I don't know, for whatever reason you might need to pause the music, it won't. The amplifiers won't be drawing power anymore. So I suppose you could say this does have an advantage in that way. But still, I'll maybe have a look at the Pi firmware. But other than that, I'm actually quite happy with it. And I think yeah, the other thing, I think I'm going to try and laser cut. I can't decide whether to actually laser engrave these button caps, or laser engrave the panel itself. But these controls obviously need labelled because I can't even remember what these do. That's play pause, that's the last FM love. I think that's back, that's display. I think that's stop and that's next track. Yeah, that was next track. Yeah. That must be back. Yeah, that's display. That's back. Yeah. Could vaguely remember how I did this. It would be awful trying to go back and look at the Python code for this because I did not comment any of it. Anyway, I'm quite happy that it's still working this well anyway, so overall even without the even with the pause, the play pause thing is now, I am still quite happy with this. So yeah, I'll do a better video when I've finished it. I'll try and look back at some of the electronics and some of the code so I can explain those a bit better, because I've even had to just go back on KiCad to find out the pinouts of some of the connections on the board and things like that. Anyway, thanks for watching.